A continuation of bombs and attacks in Gaza.
We are engaging, we are seeking out Hamas wherever they are.
Following the ending truce between Israel and Hamas. Children on high alert.
It's hard to get these things away from them.
When it comes to the constant usage of earbuds and headphones. And a scary moment for a dog and his family.
I just can't even believe it. It's quite the drop.
But first responders saved the day. These stories and more coming up on Newsbreak.
Hello, South Florida. I'm Valentina Gaspari.
I'm Jason Harrow, and today is Monday, December 4th, 2023.
Live from the Lee Caplin School of Journalism and Media in North Miami, this is Caplin News.
After a few days of ceasefire between Israel and Gaza, the war continues where it left off. This morning, Israel recalled his team of negotiators from the meeting to try and organize another pause in the fighting.
Also, as CNN's Rob Kirkpatrick reports, the U.S. is stepping up pressure on Israel to do more to protect civilians as the Palestinian death rises to over 15,000.
Israeli defense forces are resuming strikes in Gaza after talks of extending a truce broke down over the weekend.
Yes, we are engaging, we are seeking out Hamas wherever they are.
The Israeli military says it told civilians to leave large swaths of the Gaza Strip, including a number of neighborhoods in southern parts of the enclave, where many have taken shelter in recent weeks. Meanwhile, the U.S. has stepped up pressure on Israel to do more to protect civilians.
I personally pushed Israeli leaders to avoid civilian casualties and to shun irresponsible rhetoric.
According to the Hamas-controlled health ministry in Gaza, more than 15,000 people have been killed there since Israeli operations began in early October. The IDF says it has destroyed about 500 tunnel shafts during its offensive in Gaza. In a statement, the IDF says many of the tunnel shafts were located in civilian areas, and many miles of tunnel routes have been destroyed. Talks of extending a truce collapsed on Friday over the terms of releasing women still being held hostage in Gaza, according to a source familiar with the talks.
It's also important to understand why the pause came to an end. It came to an end because of Hamas. Hamas reneged on commitments it made.
Family members of hostages are once again frustrated that their loved ones are still being held captive.
And now there for the 56th day. All of the hostages that were with him were released, and he is now left alone.
I'm Rob Kirkpatrick reporting.
Former Congressman George Santos denies another lawmaker's claim that cost him a seat in the House. Republican Representative Max Miller claimed that he and his mother were defrauded by Santos, leading to his expulsion. Santos said he didn't have time to refute the accusation. Miller stands by his claims. Santos is the sixth member of the House to be expelled from Congress in that body's history.
Vice President Kamala Harris calls for a change in the fight against global warming at the UN Climate Summit in Dubai on Saturday. Harris said the U.S. would pledge another $3 billion to the Green Climate Fund. The move comes after a criticism that America wasn't doing enough.
It's so important that in this decisive decade for climate action, we have accountability in addition to commitments and transparency. We've got to get the receipts.
The goal is to help developing nations adapt to the climate crisis and cut fossil fuel pollution.
A new report from the American Academy of Pediatrics points to a higher risk of hearing loss in children. As reporter Stephanie Stahl from KWY reports, it usually comes down to the volume in their earbuds.
The world is a loud place. We're constantly exposed to excessive noise levels, especially kids.
It's hard to get these things away from them.
My daughter has earbuds in her ears at all times, unless she's lost them.
Experts say those earbuds are usually too loud. A new study from the American Academy of Pediatrics shows that many kids are exposed to potentially harmful noise from infancy, and the effects can last a lifetime.
Once hearing is lost, that is generally permanent. It could be immediately after like a loud blast, like an explosion, but more likely it's due to repeated exposures over time to less loud noises, but noises that are still too loud.
Doctors say that's usually what happens with ear pods and headphones. The study also noted concerns about infants' exposure to sleep machines or sound machines.
If you are going to use a sleep machine, set it at the lowest volume possible. for the shortest time possible and set it as far away from the baby as possible.
In addition to turning down the volume, experts say it's a good idea for kids and teens to take listening breaks and use earbuds with caution.
It is estimated that about 60% of adolescents listen to music at volumes over safe limits.
A big dog ends up in a very tight spot. It was Saturday near Raleigh, North Carolina. As Julian Grissom, WRAL reports, the Great Dane puppy named Mudge is now okay and back with her family.
This is Mudge in happier times. And this was Mudge on Saturday afternoon. The 100-pound Great Dane fell into an old well 50 feet deep.
We called 911 right away, and they come out, but they don't have they have to call the right department that has the right equipment. They had to bring that tripod situation with all the climbing harnesses and everything to get down there.
Crews from Cary Fire, Fairview Rural Fire, and Swift Creek Fire departments responded. They used a rope rescue technique. It took hours and plenty of patience, but crews were able to lift Mudge out.
I don't know, but unscathed. I just can't even believe it. It's quite the drop. And it is covered up now, by the way. It's completely covered up. So, yeah. Part of me kind of wonders, did she fall to save someone else?
So how did Mudge get down in that old well? We found out Mudge's owners, the Haldines, recently purchased the property, and the well sits quite a distance from the family home. They didn't think it would be a problem, but now they know differently. Mudge is now home safely, and her family couldn't be more thankful for first responders.
They did all of this for my dog. And she is part of our family, truly. So God bless them. They were very, very organized when they showed up. They had a plan. They knew exactly what to do.
Mudge's owners say she came out of the hole with just a small scratch on her ankle.
After suffering respiratory issues, the Pope's health is improving. In a statement from the Vatican press office, Pope Francis is continuing with antibiotic therapy and has no fever. But to avoid the cold weather, he read his Sunday address from indoors. His trip to Dubai for the COP28 Climate Summit was canceled, but his support for a changing climate control was heard.
South Florida football fans experience a weekend like no other.
That's still ahead, and so is the story.
This will be pro-consumer and pro-competition.
Two airlines team up big time in the Pacific Coast. Newsbreak will be back in 2 minutes.
See us dream. See us remember. See us protest.
You matter. Your feelings matter. Your identity matters. Everything about who you are matters.
See us fight back. See us rebuild. See us shatter stereotypes. See us inspire. See us united. See us now.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
The travel industry experiences a major merger of two major airlines. Alaska Airlines has to come with Hawaiian Airlines to purchase the company.
The merger deal will be settled in Seattle with a major hub established in Honolulu. More on this is CNN's John Lawrence.
The two airlines who bear the names of the 49th and 50th states are joining forces.
We are coming together and joining networks, and this will be pro-consumer and pro-competition.
For a price tag of $1.9 billion, Alaska Air announced its plans to buy Hawaiian Airlines.
Both airlines bring a tremendous amount to the table here, and it's going to be a great combination going forward.
The agreement between the two former rivals calls for both carriers to hold on to their individual names.
These brands are so beloved in the areas that they serve, and the massive amount of loyalty that they've accrued over the years, that we're going to do something unique and deploy both brands in the combined company.
Officials say the combined airline will have more than 1,200 departures per day and will be able to compete with bigger airlines like American, Delta, Southwest, and United.
I'm excited about what this combination does for the business, and I'm excited about the opportunities that our guests and our employees have with the business going forward.
The deal, which is expected to plod along like a taxiing plane, could take between 9 and 18 months to hammer out, and it needs the approval from the boards of both carriers and U.S. regulators. I'm John Lawrence reporting.
The Dolphins are sitting high atop the AFC East this morning after a convincing win in D.C. Two huge pass plays from Tua to Tyreek set the tone. Add a pick six from Andrew Van Ginkel and 2 rushing touchdowns, and you have a recipe for a blowout. The final score in this one was Dolphins 45, Commanders 15. Only 5 games remain in the regular season. 4 of them are at home.
The Final Four in college football were chosen yesterday, and undefeated Florida State University was not among them. Alabama, Michigan, Texas, and Washington got the nod to play in the sport's biggest games. Fans in Tallahassee were both disappointed and angry. FSU, which had its best season in years, lost some of its most important players to injuries. The Noles left out despite being undefeated. You're watching Newsbreak, and we're coming right back.
How prepared is your family if a tornado shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a hurricane? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Yes. Make a plan today.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right because a few hours ago in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign. Not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a fourth ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
I help our fellows design their paths as creative entrepreneurs. My experiences serving startups, creative businesses, and cultural organizations, and my journey as a queer mixed immigrant with Haitian and Arabic roots, inform the co-creative environment we foster at Radcliffe. We leverage our collective diversity to encourage the building of lifelong personal learning networks and mindsets that stimulate continuous innovation.
That's all the time we have for Newsbreak. I'm Jason Harrow.
And I'm Valentina Gaspari. Get more news anytime at caplinnews.fiu.edu.